This engagement is supported by the Arts Midwest Gig Fund, a program of Arts Midwest that is funded by the National Endowment for the Arts.
Hi, welcome to my show. It's called Nature's Beauty, and this is being presented at Dowagiac Library. I'm in front of my work and pretty pleased about displaying my work. Is the painting I did from a photo I took when I went up to Montreal and I saw the Niagara Falls from the American side and the Canadian side. And this is the photo I snapped standing on the American side looking at the Canadian side. And we were supposed to do the sublime and practice doing sky colors and clouds. This next painting is at Rust Forest in the fall, and it was great. I had such a good time doing it. I was outside looking at all this nature and really absorbing the colors of the trees and the sky, and the birds were singing. It was great. This next painting is one I've always wanted to do. It's a composite of 3 idea references, and this painting is called Star Trek V from the movie, and it's the final scene. And I loved how the camera at the end of the movie spanned upwards, showing the characters enjoying their time in Yosemite Park, and then the camera panned upwards up to the night sky and the space. And I just stood in the theater, loved this, and ever since that movie came out, I've wanted to do this, and I'm so proud of myself. I did achieve it. And this next painting is of Stone Lake in Cassopolis. And I kind of like that I did take a photo of this and I painted from the photo because it's the way the lake looked originally. And now, if you're familiar with Stone Lake, they have all that neat construction by the ice cream shop and the bridge, and it's nice, but I like that this is the original. And this is another painting at Rust Forest, and this was done in the summertime, and we were supposed to get darks and lights coming through, and I chose to do the bridge, and it's kind of a mysterious kind of what's behind in that darkness. And I really, really enjoyed working on this. It was sunshine, warm weather, birds were singing, and it felt so free to be there and just be within nature. And this is my flyer that was presented, and it's important to me. It's special because I've always wanted to display my work, and it's like a remembrance now of my presentation. Hi, it's nice to be here and share all my journey with you. When I was a child, I didn't realize that I wanted to draw. And when I was in 2nd grade, I thought the chalkboard was only for numbers and letters. And I went to a Catholic grade school, and the nun came in to the room, and she drew a 3-dimensional house on the chalkboard. And my reaction was like, oh, wow, I want to know how to do that magic. And it never left me. And so no one encouraged me, nobody said a word through my grade school. And then by the time I got to 8th grade, freshman year of high school, Star Trek became a huge part of my life. And I wanted to draw Mr. Spock, but not have him recognized just because of the ears, but try to bring out part of his character. And that got me started drawing. And I really didn't know what I was doing because I was doing it on my own. But I had some drawing experience in that interim from 2nd grade. And during that summer, my mom would send me to day camp. Well, it was nice. I met kids at my own age, and I enjoyed meeting people. But I hated camp, and I begged my mom to send me to a drawing class. Well, she did. And it was in South Bend at the YWCA. And my first instructor was Mrs. Lois Scannell. And we started drawing paper sacks, and then we would lay our jackets on the table and start drawing that. And I learned a little bit, but that was as much as instruction as I had growing up. And then it never really took off until I got interested in about 10 years ago or more, and I started doing pastels. I wanted to do oil painting, but the turf smell just gave me headaches so bad that I had to give it up. So I went to pastels, and I learned from a facilitator, Philip Falcone, at the Niles Senior Center, and he instructed me, and I learned how to blend the chalks, and then I kept trying portraits. I kept doing still lifes. I tried landscapes, and then that was like 3 years ago now, I guess, and Sharon came to the Niles Library, and she had this project. Let's draw a wolf. Well, I'm fascinated with wolves, so I went, and I kind of liked her personality. I liked her presentation, and she invited me to come to her group of acrylic painting. And at first, when I started, it was like such a struggle. It was a change from acrylics, and I struggled with it until I felt like I settled down, and then I started enjoying the paint and doing it on canvas. And I've been with Sharon for 3 years now, and I'm loving it. It's just, I'm learning so much, and this is like, being with Sharon is like the first professional drawing experience class that I've had, and now I'm involved with the Blue Dart Art Group, and I'm involved with the Northern Indiana Pastel Society, so I submit my pastel work, and I have shows in South Bend. I've had show in Plymouth, and I love meeting people, and I enjoy doing this, and it gives me pleasure to do my work, to show my work. In fact, that's what I always wanted to do, was to show my work and share it with other people. When I was young, my dad was a car salesman, and he would go to Chicago to get more education on car salesmanship classes. And so he would come home and bring us just a little something from his trip. And he brought back some coloring books, and it was a plastic pencil full of small little colored lead pieces. And my favorite color was the turquoise color. And I just loved that, how that color showed on the coloring book paper. And that was just like, wow, this was the best present. And it was something small, but for me it was a huge gift. And I never really had the chance to tell Dad how much I appreciated that he gave us as when I was a child, but I hope he can hear it in heaven. This is the recent portrait I did in class with Sharon, and we were supposed to do someone that was important to us. And this portrait is a good friend of mine. He was my best friend, counselor, supporter. He was there through every event of my life from the time I knew him, from 11 years old. And his name is Father Matt Sienkiewicz. And he was originally from Chicago, and he was appointed to a church in South Bend, and that's how I got to know him. And he became a good family member friend. And then I showed a picture. I took a picture of it and showed my oldest sister, because she knew him very well also. And she says, looks like him in the eyes. And then over Christmas, I showed her the picture when she came to visit. And she says, oh yeah, that looks just like him. And it was just like, yes, I nailed it. When I was a young, in grade school, and we didn't have cable channels. We had 3 channels plus PBS. And didn't have a color TV, black and white. And Saturday afternoon, there hardly was anything on. And so I flipped to the PBS channel, and it was a 30-minute program, and they would show paintings of the great masters. And I sat and I watched it. It fascinated me. And they would talk about the artist and how he achieved the painting and what was important about the painting and what was the domineering aspect of the painting. And I remember briefly that from my childhood, and I was glad that I had that opportunity. Wish I had color TV then, but we didn't. Before I started going into school, into grade school, I was about maybe 5, and I would watch Captain Kangaroo on TV. And they had one segment of that called Mighty Manfred and Tom Terrific. And as I got older, I understood how the artist was doing the work. But as they were telling the story to the children, the guy behind the screen was drawing Tom Terrific and Manfred, the dog. And I was just fascinated by how he did that. And I wanted to know how to do it. And throughout my young life, through grade school, high school, Mom and Dad would go down in South Bend to Lever Park, and every summer they would have an art exhibit from the area artists from the surrounding area, and that fascinated me. I just loved looking at all their work, and I remember saying to one artist, I wish I could just do that like you do. And she told me, just keep trying, just keep practicing, you'll get it. And it works. Keep practicing. It's like nailed it.